readers and listeners. This is the Awards Watch Podcast brought to you by AwardsWatch.com. I am your executive editor, Ryan McQuade, joined, as always, by some variation of all of our co-hosts here. Eric's not here today, thank God. But we have Nicole Ackman.
Hello, hello.
We have Josh Parham.
Hello, hello.
And we have Dan Bayer.
Hi, everybody.
Damn it, Dan, you're supposed to say hello.
Look,
God,
Josh has already yelled at me once
up
for taking his intro. I'm
Nicole
not going to
took
do it again.
He's not going to yell at Nicole.
All to do it, and you didn't get my message to you.
The show is just off the rails already.
Read my mind better, Dan.
I'm
Sophia-
sorry. Spent a lot of
Sophia's
time
moving this
outside
week.
today, and I have heat stroke.
Eric's flying home. Sophia's off this week. She's moving into her new apartment. Kevin's on location. Tyler's like stuck inside a television. So we're all here. And it's what's going on right now? Everyone's seeing Top Gun Maverick still?
Finally, yes.
Finally?
Yes.
Josh has seen
I saw
it
in IMAX.
Nicole's
As did
seen it?
I. Yeah.
The only way
And
to
I'm taking my parents to see it again.
Yeah.
Like I'm going, my sister and I
Awesome.
are going again. We're bringing our parents on Friday. It's going to be our last big family movie outing before we get two puppies, and maybe shouldn't all be leaving at the same time for a couple of weeks. At least not for long enough to see a movie. So we're pretty excited. I really think that my parents are going to love it, and I can't wait to see their reactions to it.
Yeah, Josh, you took your dad to it, right?
Yeah. Because my dad had been asking me forever when that movie was coming out. So I had needed to take him in. Of course, he loved it. I love it too. I think it's so good. Honestly, I prefer it to all the Mission Impossible movies, which I think is a bit of a hot take, but I don't care. I think it is better than all of them. I loved it dearly. Yes.
You just had to come on and just really rub that in.
This disrespect to Brad
Just say
Bird.
you like the movie. You didn't have to go that far.
Well, I'm not saying that the Mission Impossible movies are bad, but I think that Top Gun Maverick achieves an emotional level that none of the Mission Impossible movies have.
Oh, I've cried at like
true.
3 of those movies, but I get what you're saying.
I cried 3 times in Top Gun Maverick, though.
I mean,
That's
Ryan,
And that was just the beach scene. Yeah.
No, that was just the opening scene.
I know.
I've actually been dying to talk to Nicole because I had this feeling after I saw Top Gun Maverick that if she did see it, that she may leave that movie being like, am I attracted to Tom Cruise now? I don't know.
Honestly, no, still though.
No.
Okay, good.
Was he in that movie? I only saw Miles Teller and Glenn Powell. I didn't see
that
Tom
whole
Miles Teller
cast.
was my runner-up for
Yeah.
if you would fall in love with. So
Yeah.
No, but it was crazy. So time of recording this, it was announced the box office numbers, and we're not going to go into any of that because it's just money that we'll talk about at the end of the year or at the end of August when we're doing
y'all
our big,
can gloat. Team 1 can gloat about the grosses and RT score if you want to. I will
saying,
take it.
I'm just saying that a certain team picked it, and it might be the highest grossing film this summer domestically. Just putting that out there.
Yes,
Feeling good.
domestically, but you yourself, Ryan, said that the rules were international box
And it helps
office.
it out too that
And
it's doing
the
well here.
dinos are still coming, and they're gonna stomp all over those pitty
You know,
little
it does help
planes.
that it got good reviews, though. So,
Yeah.
That is true. We
Yeah,
did take
reviews
play a
factor.
Helps a little bit. Okay, you'll get an extra 30 points. We will get an
Yeah.
extra 300.
Watch the
points.
game ends up
from the
being
gross.
like a difference of 30 points, and it's because of Top Gun Maverick. And we'll play.
It's
this
not
audio
going to be
back.
because we get 1 point per every $1 million over the budget. We're gonna be making billions, baby, billions.
Watch it doesn't do well, and then we take this audio back. Either way, I like the fact that like Dan is doubling down on Jurassic World Dominion, which we'll talk about.
It's all right
a little
because
bit next
Dan, you don't know it, but you should be worried if you lose for what you have to watch. You should be worried.
So should y'all. Just
Nobody
saying.
wants to watch those, especially since right when we announce the winner of that, it'll be right at the turn of the fall season, right when we're about to get into all the movies for award season that we're going to love to talk about. We're going to start off that calendar with whatever each team picks. It's going to be so fantastic. But no, I went and saw Crimes of the Future. Really liked it more than I think a lot of people sort of been in the middle on it. But what was interesting about it is the fact that when I was walking into the theater, just the enormity of people that were there. And the one title that everyone was saying was Top Gun Maverick. Everyone was there for Top Gun Maverick. It is an event. It is. I was listening to Dave Chen and Scott Middleton talk on a Twitter space today about how like this is audiences telling not just Tom Cruise, but the studios that like they want to see his films. They want to see this film. Paramount putting that Mission Impossible trailer in front of Top Gun Maverick, and it comes out 14 months from that, is so smart.
The way people applauded that trailer in my screening last week, like
insane.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's not going to be done making action films for like probably the rest of his life at this point. But it just shows that like when we were doing that summer movie draft, both teams were very nervous about Top Gun Maverick. I know that Nicole and Josh, we were nervous about picking it, but we ultimately went with it because it was just, I think we ended up picking it in like the third or fourth round.
It was a late pick. Yeah,
it was a late pick, and we were just like, I don't know. It could go either way.
I will say that our team 2, we strongly considered it, but ended up leaving it for like a later pick just because when we were looking at what we wanted to pick, we figured that Top Gun Maverick would play much better domestically than it would internationally. It is, of the big event movies, it seemed to be the most American-centric one. So that's why we ended up not picking it as one of our top picks.
Yeah. And yet it's doing great. Saving theaters.
Great.
I'm surprised, actually. I didn't think it was going to do that well, but I'm so happy.
Honestly,
I didn't think it was going. I didn't think it was going to be that good.
I don't think anyone did.
I thought it would be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be to the level of like, so like Josh, how you're saying it's, I love the Mission Impossible films so much, but this was like adjacent. Like it was like, okay, this gives me a great fix on that kind of action in that kind of film until next year and the year after that when we get, Dead Reckoning 1 and 2. And
I will also admit I had not seen Top Gun. So I watched Top Gun last weekend.
I had not seen it before I saw this
the first time.
I watched it the night before I saw it. Yeah.
The funnier part of it actually is that I discovered I had never seen a Tom Cruise film.
What?
Which makes a little bit of sense because I do avoid him because he really creeps me out.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
As all Scientologists do.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to like throw it right out there. But
here we go.
I think the Scientologists could take that one.
Yeah,
I
think it's going to be offended that I'm like insulting Scientology. But so I kind of I do sort of actively avoid his films most of the time. But I didn't realize how well I had avoided his movies until I realized
that's really.
I was looking at him on Letterboxd and it was has seen 0%.
That's he's made a lot of movies.
Yeah, so I now have
seen
both of them, and I was unimpressed with Top Gun. So I was kind of like, oh no, what am I going to think of this one? And then I am obsessed with Top Gun Maverick. So Nicole, it's a big plot twist.
I gotta hear your thoughts on Mission Impossible films now. You gotta watch those. They're a lot of fun. No, if you like
a lot of them,
they're 6.
They are very fun.
There's 6, but they're all fun.
Yeah, they're all fun. They all have their own thing. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah. You will just not remember what any of them are about.
Plus,
I know everything.
Nicole, just start with Rogue Nation. You get Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh, okay.
And then the next one after that is Fallout, and you get Rebecca Ferguson and Vanessa Kirby. So,
Okay, so you said the magic word.
I know what you like.
You know how to get me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Ghost Protocol, which is fantastic. I even like 3 and 2.
Ghost Protocol is the best one. It just is.
I don't know about that, but okay. I'll let you have that. damn, I'll let you have that. But no, you have 14 months, Nicole, to watch. such
Really?
movies.
Yeah.
You got some time.
Yeah,
you got some
I'll
time.
get it in there.
Yeah, they're great though. They're probably the most consistently, in terms of bang for your buck, franchise we have today in terms of quality. Just putting it all out there, and they're great. And so, like, if that care that is wrapped around Top Gun Maverick, you see those in those Mission Impossible movies too. So it's pretty great. But Top Gun Maverick is doing its thing at the box office. We're here to talk right now about our favorites of 2022 so far, because we're kind of like in this weird weekend where, Crimes of the Future and Fire Island, which is out on Hulu right now, dominating that scene and everything. But this weekend, of course, was still dominated by the second wave of Top Gun Maverick. So we got a little time before, like Dan says, the dinos start coming in their dominion and everything else.
Dinos and the spaceman and the other spaceman
and Jordan Peele and everybody else for the rest of the summer and the rest of the year.
rock and roll god.
Oh, forgot. I keep forgetting. I'd see that in like a week and a half. So, we're going to talk about some of our favorite stuff of the year so far, and we broke it down to 6-ish sort of topics, and so we're gonna do that right now, and and we're gonna talk about our favorite scenes of the year. And does anybody want to go first? I'm
just gonna get it out of the way.
Here we go,
and
Nicole.
say the beach scene from Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's call it right out there.
Listen, I also feel like I've seen it a billion times because that one clip of Miles Teller is literally most of my FYP on TikTok. So, I just feel like we should just say that before we actually get into it, just to,
We were
be
all
honest.
looking very respectfully.
I don't know how
Screen.
Why was it?
respectfully
No,
I was
Oh,
no
looking.
what are you
respect.
talking about
No,
respectfully?
There was no respect. What are we
Nope.
talking about? I was drooling both times I saw it.
I was, in fact, objectifying those
Yep.
men.
Yeah.
As was the camera, for which
Yep.
thank you, Joe Kaczynski.
Yes.
Also, thank you to Glenn Powell for posting behind the scenes bits on his
Amazing.
Instagram.
Yes.
He is doing the most for the
Amazing.
people.
Some of the best direction. of the
He is
year.
a man who knows what side his bread is buttered on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. No, for sure. Any other scenes? Any other scenes?
Yeah, I'm going to say everything before the opening credits of RRR, which
Ooh.
I
So
just
like the first 45 minutes?
Yeah.
which it's the two intro scenes of the main characters of this movie, which I just saw Friday night, which is it's just spectacular.
Mhm.
I am so happy that they decided to bring it back to theaters for like a little bit, because yes, absolutely watch it on Netflix because this movie is incredible. But I'm so glad I got to see it on a big screen with an audience like hooting and hollering, and just because it is that kind of movie. And the fact that they were able to achieve what they did on a less than $100 million budget
Yeah.
is
Insane.
completely insane. And the intro scenes to both of the main characters of this movie are just like, I was just sitting there going, I was like blown all the way back in my seat, just like, I surrender.
Yeah.
I surrender. This movie is crazy. It's going there, and I love it. I respect it. Had been a long time since I had seen a Bollywood movie in the theater, and this is technically Tollywood, not Bollywood, but similar enough sensibilities that I was just so excited to see that kind
You
of.
get the dance scene.
Yeah.
And the dance scene is
The
great.
dance scene is
Yeah.
fantastic. Josh.
I do have. I was
Oh.
gonna say I do have two real ones for the record.
Oh, you do have to,
Um,
we'll come back.
We'll come
Nicole.
back.
Just putting it
We'll
in
come
there.
back.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have a scene of the year or one to
Well, I
highlight?
definitely agree with the first two suggestions. I think another one I would say is the entire finale to Turning Red.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that movie just in general, but I really do feel like it comes together so well in that ending where you get this team up with, the grandmother too, and all the aunts, and it's just funny and sweet and charming, and we got a reprieve of the song again. It's like all the best elements of that movie coming together so well at the end of that film. And I just love Turning Red. It's also one of my favorite movies of the year, and honestly one of Pixar's best movies, I think.
Yeah, no, I
Co-sign.
I think it's a good movie. Yeah, and that ending is really good. Nicole, you said you had two.
Yeah, I have two. One is the LSD scene of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
That is like maybe the most,
yeah,
maybe the most I have like ever laughed in a movie theater. Also when he like is texting the FBI agent and he's like, BRB, I'm on acid. My best friend and I literally say that to each other all the time now. I think about that scene like regularly. And the other one is a scene that I also think about regularly, but maybe for a different reason. But I do actually, like, it's going to sound like I'm saying it for one reason. I actually do mean it for another. And it's the scene in Fresh when he is in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also because I think that scene, like, encapsulates what that movie is doing. And it's, like, combination of humor and horror in such a beautiful way. Because it's, like, it's really funny, but it's also, like, really gross at the same time. I just God bless Movie Cave for that.
Yeah. Oh, scenes of the year. Well, the volcano fight in the Northman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was respectfully looking there as well.
I was actually looking very respectfully because I'm like, they went there
and it's beautiful. Yeah, it's just really well done. There's a lot of shots in that film. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think the rock sequence
take your pick in that movie though.
I mean, take your pick.
I literally didn't say a scene from that movie because I couldn't pick just one, but that's a good one to pick.
I think the rock, and it sounds like I'm talking about Dwayne Johnson, but it's actually like two rocks.
Just thinking that.
The Rock.
I wish Dwayne Johnson was in that movie.
It's so funny. Every time I've seen Everything Everywhere, like that is the scene that gets the most reactions from the audiences. And it's because it's so, I don't think I've ever seen anything in
You made me cry about two rocks.
Yeah. And there's no spoken dialogue. It's so freaking beautiful.
Yeah, but then there's like Stephanie Hsu's entrance into the film as the villain
is great,
is fantastic. And then there's the final fight where she's using like the positivity of it all and using the googly eyes on everyone. When she spanks one of the directors using that power, that was genuinely one of the funniest things I've seen this year. I mean, there's the images of the bagel, and in that, like the contrasting of the white gowns and then the black hole that is this bagel. It's, I mean, there's that whole the Wong Kar-wai sequences,
the unveiling of Raccacoonie.
That is the most terrifying thing still I have seen probably in cinema in the last 20 years.
Raccacoonie is my favorite film.
It's more, that is as terrifying as the jump scare in Mulholland Drive. Like when you first see the jump scare, if everyone knows what I'm talking about, that's how terrified I was. And every time they went back to that
world,
to the raccoon, I kept going, please stop. Please. It is terrifying how that animatronic is crying.
Meanwhile, I was like, make the film.
I think there's in my favorite film still of this year, after Yang, there's the conversation between Yang and Jake about tea in the middle of that film that I think is just quite beautiful.
That is one of the best written scenes.
Yeah,
of the year.
There's take another film that, and I mean, shocking that I'm the one talking about the comic book film, but the Batman. I mean, there's so many scenes in that movie for me, like the opening sort of monologue and introduction into that, the car chase scene where he's going after Penguin, the interrogation scene, which is completely unhinged Baldano, which I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need. But then also too, like, there's the scene in the hospital between Alfred and Bruce where like every time I watch the film, it's so good. And Andy Serkis is so good.
I was going to mention that if you didn't just now.
Yeah. Oh my God. But then
RT,
there's
if you cry every time.
Every time. It was on, weirdly enough, because they have the HBO Max deal with Warner Brothers. These movies are already on HBO, which they're so quick already on that platform. It's ridiculous. And I was just flipping through channels on television the other night, and it was on, and it flipped right to that scene. I'm like, okay, I cannot do this because one, I do not have another hour and a half of my night to focus on this wonderful film, and second of all, I will be a puddle. So I just moved on. And
yes, well, you also can't forget the most important scene of that movie, which is the shirtless investigation scene.
Absolutely.
Yes,
the shirtless murder board, as I like
Yes.
murder floor, as I like to call it. Yeah.
Shirtless murder
That
floor,
is when you know that Matt Reeves made that film for the girls and the gays.
It's true.
I think there's like Nicole, you mentioned the unbearable weight of massive talent. There's the bar sequence where Nicolas Cage kisses himself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
which
good.
is one of the funniest.
Yeah.
So
things.
great.
So funny.
Yeah.
I mean, Top Gun Maverick, it's just cool at the beginning where he's trying to get to Mach 10 and he's just pushing that plane to its absolute limits. It's incredible.
The shout out to after when he lands and he walks into that little roadside cafe, shout out to that little boy. Where am I? Earth.
Yeah.
A movie that people sort of kind of forgot about, I think, or don't talk about because we start seeing more and more movies, but like I think like the some of the scenes in Kimi are really good, like when she first leaves her apartment, or the ending where she's sort of having to like take down the intruders. My new favorite scene of the year right now is seeing everyone watch Fire Island and watch the clip of them playing heads up and the defense is wrong and trying to have to just and having to watch them explain who Marissa Tomei is, which is hysterical. And with the line of, "Oh, you don't remember Marissa Tomei, but you remember Alicia Vikander." Yeah.
No, my favorite bit about that scene is when he guesses Rosie Perez. And
yes,
I almost want to respect. Because that is relatable.
That is my favorite line of that whole movie. I think
so good. The problem is I've seen a lot of movies that haven't come out yet, so I can't say those scenes because of festivals and stuff. But
I got to give a big shout out to one, which I actually think is like the scene, and I think it will be the scene of the year if enough people see it, but particularly recently with all that has happened in our society, the last scene of the fallout, like the very, very end of that movie is, I remember when I first saw that last year at South by Southwest, and that ending came and I was just gobsmacked and completely floored by it. And I was completely floored by it again when I saw it when it was actually released this year. But given all that has happened recently with mass shootings in schools in this country, I just want to implore everyone to please watch The Fallout so you can actually see how this affects the people who survive it, and that it, this does not end. This does not end for them. It's not just a national nightmare for everyone. It is a very specific nightmare for these people who have to survive and try to live the rest of their lives. And I think that this movie is incredibly smart about that. And it's a great movie, fantastic debut, incredible performances in it. And that last scene, man, if you do not feel strongly about doing something about gun control in this country, this movie will make you feel something.
Yeah, no, I agree, Dan. Like that, and the opening, one of the opening scenes of the film inside the bathroom when
that scene, when it happens, that scene is so well done.
Because when I watched it at South by, I had no idea what this movie was about. I tried not to read a lot of the plot synopsis, so just watch it. And then when it turned, I was like, oh wow, we're going there. And it's a very vital film. And
Jenna Ortega she's doing the most.
Yeah, she's fantastic in that film.
Yeah.
So breakout performances of the year.
Oh, we just said Jenna Ortega.
I mean, she's like everywhere. She was in that and X, Scream,
X. Oh God, X is so good too.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned Stephanie Hsu, who's in Everything Everywhere All at Once, who's I think the big breakout star of the first half of the year. I mean, she's just, I mean, fantastic in that. Does anybody else have anyone else that they would like to highlight? Not all at once.
I'm thinking the ones that I would nominate are from movies that haven't come out yet.
This is cheating a little, but it is her breakout film role.
Okay.
So I am gonna say Daisy Edgar Jones and Fresh, because she'd only really done Normal People, obviously, and I think that this was the role that sort of proved that she is more than just that. That she is, and she seems like, I mean, she's a bit of an it girl right now. She's getting cast and everything, and has another film coming out soon. So I feel like she's one of the people who's sort of come out from the first half of the year as someone to keep your eye on.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I agree with Dan. There's not many, because I would say because I've seen some films like Cha Cha Real Smooth and Good Luck Rio Grande, where there's some breakout performances there. And
Cha Cha Real Smooth is going to come out in like a couple weeks.
Yeah, I guess we could count it.
Yeah. Why not? Why not count it? It's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah. So shout out Vanessa. I'm sorry, Burger Height, I believe, or Burger Hart is her last name. Berghart. Sorry, I'm terrible with pronunciations of last names. But she's fantastic in that film and has really sweet chemistry with Cooper Raiff.
Yeah.
In that movie, and their scenes together, just, if those scenes don't melt your heart, I don't know what to do with you. I really
think your heart is stone.
It's super stone. For sure. And everything. But yeah, I would look out for that performance coming up. And then Daryl McCormick in Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, which he was
my big breakout of the year.
A big breakout, you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No pun intended, because he plays a male sex worker in that. Anyway. But
again,
anyone,
I was looking not at all respectfully.
Yeah, exactly. But also too, to act that fantastically opposite the great Emma Thompson is very hard to do. And he certainly holds his own there. So
I want to give a shout out to Jasmine Savoy Brown, who for me was the standout of Scream.
Yes.
Yeah. She was great in that.
Yeah, of that whole supporting cast, I thought she was the one that I most wanted to see more of in other things.
Okay. How about some of our favorite screenplays of the year? I mean, it's kind of obvious what everyone's screenplay of the year might be.
Well, yeah. I mean, say something that isn't Everything Everywhere All at Once, I would say that a very strong runner-up for me is Benediction.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
The dialogue in that movie is
so good.
Is so witty and funny and smart. Oh my God. I really wanted to also contend for that category this year because it is such a well-written film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love everything about that movie. I love the use of the poetry in it. And those lines, that dialogue, it sparkles. I love it.
Shout out to Dan's interview with writer-director Terrence Davis. This was on AwardsWatch.com. It posted this past week. And yeah, that is just, I mean, like, there's those scenes where Jack Lowden's with the physician there at the hospital, and those are just like
good.
We've seen that dozens of times in movies, but no more was it as just like impactful and beautiful and elegant. It's just, Terrence Davies, good with scripts, I would say. Good at his job.
Yes.
I also want to shout out I Want You Back, which I don't think a ton of people saw. It's an Amazon rom-com, which I honestly think is one of the best rom-com scripts, maybe even in the past decade. It's
really good.
So funny. It feels sort of fresh and original and not like the same plot that you've seen 1,000 times. But it also is like very fun and tropey and like what you want from a rom-com. Also, there's a character who is very similar to Nick Miller, and anytime someone writes a character like that, I need to personally thank them. But yeah, I think that's the kind of screenplay that it's not going to go anywhere near any awards, but I do think that I like to recognize a good rom-com screenplay when I see one.
Yeah. Along those same lines, I really liked the screenplay for Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. I thought it was very well written.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I am watching it tomorrow, and y'all are making me so excited for it.
I'm gonna say a screenplay here, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, and I would have never said this about like 2-3 months ago. Would have never had it on my radar. But Chippendale Rescue Rangers is a fantastic screenplay. Like the jokes in that movie are leaps and bounds. Like, how are they getting away with this? How is any of this possible? I mean, the idea of having the original Sonic the Hedgehog in that movie is extraordinarily stupid and yet extraordinarily brilliant. I
do not know how they got away with some of the jokes they got away with in that movie. I really
so
don't.
Funny. Yeah. I mean, shout out to, we've had some really good comedies this year. Like,
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Really, really funny.
Yeah. Also, I mean, like, I think the Batman's screenplay is really well crafted. We'll talk about Best Director later. And no, I saw that look, Josh.
I mean, I'm
with Josh.
Batman. I just think it's a good, not great movie.
I'm with Josh.
I love that movie. And I'm in the bag for it.
If we're talking about best screenplay, big shout out to After Yang.
Yeah.
That is a really, really well written movie.
Yeah. No, for sure. Nobody wants to talk about Uncharted in this category.
No, but I do want to give a shout out to the Northman, because I don't think many people will, but that screenplay, I mean, the way it incorporates the mythology, the actual Norse mythology into it, I thought was so well done and genuinely one of my favorite parts of that movie.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of research into the myth of Amlet or Amleth, which it's based on. And it, like, in retrospect, made me so much more impressed by that screenplay.
You're gonna have to forward that over to me.
I have an episode of Petticoats and Poppies, my period drama podcast, if anyone wants to listen to it, entirely going into the mythology behind the North.
Is it already out?
Yep, it's out.
Okay, well, I know what I'm listening to tomorrow or later tonight.
Thank you.
Acting performances, best acting performances. It does not have to be a lead. It could be a supporting performance.
I'm sorry to everyone else, but this year it's Jack Lowden and Benediction, and then everyone else.
Yeah, I was going to say him.
Yeah,
and the last scene is just that
entire cast. That is my favorite ensemble thus far, because they are all just absolutely doing great things.
Yeah,
for me,
he's so good. Yeah, and everybody in that movie is good too. I absolutely agree. The only one that comes close in terms of like my favorite performance is something that is cheating a little bit, because it technically was seen last year, but it didn't really come out until this year. And that is the movie Great Freedom.
Yes.
And Franz Wogowski, I think, delivers an incredible performance. Like I said, it's one where it's sort of hard to count it, because like it was submitted for the Oscar last year, but it didn't get nominated. And so it didn't compete with anything.
It's in that ether
this year. Yeah. So, but just talking about performances that are in movies that did release this year, I think he is astounding in that film.
Yeah. I just watched that this weekend, Josh. because I've been dying to see it, and I know how much you love not just that film, but that man. And he continues to be one of the great actors we have working today, and it's a beautiful performance. As someone else too, I Colin Farrell in After Yang to me is
so good
performance. He has had a great year so far. I mean, like, his performance as the Penguin is hysterical.
That was going to be one of mine too, honestly.
And then to have the balance of those two performances completely different, and then what he's going to be doing later this year, then we'll see with Martin McDonagh. Who he won a Golden Globe and other awards for In Bruges, and he worked with Seven Psychopaths before. So it's looking like the year of Farrell, and I'm okay with that.
Farrell for Farrell.
I mean,
every year is the year of Farrell. Everyone is just now catching up with that.
Exactly.
I will say also, speaking of the Batman, I actually think that Paul Dano may still be on my best supporting actor list by the end of the year, because I am obsessed with what he is doing in that.
That cast is insane. Like, it's
insane. But
Pattinson's great. Kravitz,
Zoe Kravitz.
I mean, Circus, Jeffrey Wright. I even like Turturro. The more I've watched it, like, Turturro's performances, they gave him something to do in that movie.
Turturro is
he's
honestly
good.
Even Sarsgaard.
Yeah.
Is really good.
No, I'm sorry. I've been sitting here listening to it and being like, okay, fine, I don't agree. No, Sarsgaard.
Sarsgaard's the one that broke you, really?
No, I'm sorry. No, that is the line that I cannot cross.
He's good.
I tolerated Turturro.
He was going to let me have.
I was going to, but no. I draw the line that says Sarsgaard gives a good performance in that movie. Sorry.
Good. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought he was great.
Barry Keoghan or whatever his name is. Yeah. No, that's a bad performance. I will give you that, Josh. Yeah, they could have taken that out of the film.
Love him, but not.
Yeah,
what
take
he
it
did in
out.
that movie,
No.
personally.
Anyway,
It also would not be me if I did not note that my favorite performance of the year thus far is Sebastian Stan in Fresh.
Yeah.
It's
worth
terrifying.
It. Like,
I also having gotten to talk to him about it. It's so interesting the way that he did intensive research on serial killers for that role.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it definitely comes across, but still manages to be funny, which is a very, I think, hard line to walk in a role like that. Sometimes it feels to me very Christian Bale in American Psycho in terms of the use of his charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't mentioned Everything Everywhere All at Once. Do we just want to say the whole cast and move on?
Ensemble.
I mean,
ensemble.
everybody.
Goes without saying.
Yeah.
That's the best actress of the year so far.
My favorite actress performance this year actually is Mia Goth in X.
Oh,
which
okay.
I would not have said until I found out later that she was also the old woman. And when I tell you that I never would have guessed, not just because the makeup is incredible, because she moves like an old woman.
It's a really good performance.
I was in shock. Yeah,
she's great. Oh, Mia Goth, she's just so good in everything. Remember how great she was in Emma?
Is.
She was. Oh, I love her in that film.
Yes, I do remember how great.
Yeah, I knew you would. Yes, I know.
Yeah, I gotta say Nicole Kidman in The Northman she's
there is the Nicole Kidman that I love and have missed.
Yeah,
she
ate. She knew what she was doing in that movie, and I'm
gonna tell myself that her Oscar nomination was actually for The Northman.
Oh yeah.
Do you see what happens when you work with good directors, Nicole?
Do you see what happens when you have good wigs?
Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz in Kimi, she has that entire film is hers, and she's fantastic in it. I think I actually recently seeing the film Léa Seydoux in Crimes of the Future. She is very, very good. And
she's the best performance in that movie.
Yeah. I don't know what Kristen Stewart was doing in that film, but I kind of liked it. But I also know
I respect it.
It was a swing. And I appreciated that. So
I also want to say real quick, before I end up forgetting this one, both leading men in RRR are
Yes.
Truly, they're being like action leads, romantic leads, comedy leads, all of it at the same time, and I'm impressed.
Show me anyone who is doing more pound for pound for their movie than those two guys.
Yeah.
And they dance. So
they're doing everything.
That's what I'm saying.
I will shout out Tim Roth in a film called Sundown that came out earlier this year.
I remember that from last year's TIFF.
He's really good in that movie, and a movie that I know that movie is sort of divisive because it's Michelle Franco and people either really like his films or don't. But I really connected with him mostly just because of how dour that performance really is, and I thought that's one to highlight. I got to give like a special recognition to you mentioned the balls to the wall sort of performances from the two guys in RRR, the Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O in Jackass Forever. The fact that they're still at this age able to do the things or want to do those things is commendable. I know that this is supposedly like their last run of it, and they're going to hand off the keys of the kingdom to others, which fair. But like watching that film, it was painful to like realize that they went to the hospital, spent like a week in there for a concussion, and almost died making the film. Not like they haven't in the past, but like you see the aging of them, and it feels like in real time. So gotta give a special shout out to them. And someone too, a great cameo of the year already for me is Brad Pitt in The Lost City, who
funny
for the 5 minutes he's in that movie is the best part of that movie.
Funny.
A good movie, but I mean, did it make me want to see Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt in a full-length film together? I was like, yeah, I kind of want to see that. We got like a glimpse of it. I was like, get Tatum out of here. We might have a party.
Does Sandra Bullock have a cameo in Bullet Train? Did I hear that?
She's like in his ear.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the voice.
She's the voice in his ear for the organization. That's it. Like she's not actually in it. So
if we're talking about cameo performances, I got to give a shout out to my gal Moses Ingram in Ambulance.
Oh,
continuing to give the best performances that have like less than 5 minutes of screen time in every movie she's in.
Shout out to Ambulance. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to the needle drop.
Shout out to Jake Gyllenhaal for doing literally the most.
God, that movie. I swear.
That movie in general does the most. I also have to be me and say that I really loved Karen Gillan in Duel.
Yeah.
Which no one has seen.
Yeah, it's on AMC Plus, right?
Yeah, AMC Plus, but Sundance.
We all have it.
We're lucky enough to see it at Sundance. That deadpan style of Riley Stearns is tough to nail down, and she got it absolutely right as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I did think she was pretty good in that movie. I'm not a big fan of the film overall, but I did like her performance. We were talking about the actors in Benediction, and I remember initially a lot of people were talking about Jeremy Irvine as being the highlight of the supporting players, and I think that
I loved him in that.
Yeah, I actually wasn't like that over the moon with him, to be honest. I thought the writing was a lot better than his performance, but the person I actually did like a lot more was Callum Lynch, who is his friend who has tuberculosis, and I just thought that character was so funny, but he also had this really like authentic tragedy to him too that was never overwhelming, but it gave just more dimension to him, and I loved all the interactions that he had with Jack Lowden. That was actually my favorite supporting performance in that film.
I feel like maybe that's actually my answer now that I think about it for Breakout of the year.
Yeah.
Oh,
between
sure.
that and Bridgerton, he's having a good
He's having a year. He's having a year. Also, shout out to Joel Kim Brewster and Bowen Yang, who are I think.
Bowen.
Bowen
is another one. Everybody in that cast is great.
Yeah, everyone in that cast is great.
Everyone looks great. Everyone is great. But Bowen Yang, I just stole my heart. I mean, he's the most adorable. Everything.
Yeah.
He's everything.
Well, it would have been nice if that movie played in theaters so we could have a supporting actor campaign for him.
You really, I agree, Josh. Same with Good Luck Leo Grant. So then we could have Emma Thompson in the Best Actress category.
Seriously.
So now they'll just.
Really, because Emma Thompson.
Emmy nominations a year from now. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if they qualify this year. I won't.
No.
Qualify in time. Yeah.
There's another no one has seen this because it got like barely released on Hulu like months ago, but it's this dirty, grotty little grindhouse thriller called No Exit.
I've seen No Exit.
And that ensemble, if you want to like talk about great ensemble acting where everyone is playing off of each other and just really like digging into their admittedly very cliche roles, but that ensemble worked so well together, made that movie a lot better than what I was expecting.
Dale Dickey's
Dale Dickey is great.
Yeah, she's
Havana Rose Liu, who's the lead, is phenomenal.
Dennis Haysbert.
Dennis Haysbert. Gotta love Dennis Haysbert and Dale Dickey as a couple.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, I'm in. This is, I don't know what the rest of this movie is, but I'll just take them. Best direction of the year. I mean, we got some. It's some obvious usual suspects. It's
we'll throw out Everything Everywhere All at Once.
The Daniels.
We'll throw out The Northman for Robert Eggers. For me, I'm going to throw out another movie that no one has seen, but it's this French thriller called Black Box.
Oh, I want to see this so badly.
Again, like I barely released, but it is this really like almost a Blowout style thriller, like Blowout, the Brian De Palma movie about a guy who is investigating a plane crash just by the black box from the plane. And the direction in it is just from the opening shot, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. It is tight as a drum. It is constantly surprising and just like perfect, like 70s style paranoid thriller. And he does it really, really well. The directing in that movie is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do really want to see that ever since you talked about it. Yeah. Because it also reminds me of this older movie that it's not very popular, but I remember watching it a lot when I was younger, called Fate is the Hunter, that has like Glenn Ford and Rod Taylor in it. And it's a very similar story of this investigator trying to figure out what happened with this plane that crashed. And so the premise reminds me a lot of that film.
Oh, wow.
And I really like that original movie. So I'm so interested in seeing this one. Plus, Pierre Ninet.
I mean, who's the director of RRR?
Oh,
it's
Raja.
He's one of the R's.
He is one of the R's.
No, I say that.
It's Rajamouli, I think.
Yeah,
Rajamouli. Yeah,
gotta be up there.
The working title of the film was RRR because of the R's and the two leads and the director's name.
Yeah,
and they ended up making it the real title.
Oh,
yeah. They even had like a contest to like where people could submit their titles, and they're just like, actually, no, we're just gonna keep it at RRR.
I gotta say, Kogonada's direction in After Gang is just breathtaking. I mean, never thought I'd say these two names back to back, but I'm going to say it. Joseph Kosinski for Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Everyone's seeing it right now for a reason. And I know screenplay is not what we talked about for this movie, but the direction for me of what Sam Raimi was able to do in the Multiverse of Madness, it is him everywhere in there. It is refreshing to actually see a director and a vision and like their palette put into that, and you can tell. And he had a lot of fun. It's now his highest grossing film of his career, and will be just fascinating. It's nice to have him inject himself here, and hopefully he does something else that's original and fun that we all know Sam Raimi to do. I think we mentioned Eggers.
If we're talking about horror movies, what Ty West did with X, phenomenal. And also you talked about the Fallout in a timely movie. I think Justin Kurzel's direction in Nitram that came out earlier this year, with also the great performance from Caleb Landry Jones in that film as well, a very timely film. That one's dealing with a mass, the lead up to a mass shooting there in Australia, and what was the mass shooting that led to a lot of their legislation
in terms of gun legislation in there. And so it's a really powerful film. And I'm not a big fan of Justin Kurzel's direction for the most part in films. I think he's like, I'm going to throw everything at the screen and I'm, give you everything. And I think it's a lot, but I think in that film, it's very purposeful and very well done. And I think David Cronenberg coming back and with his stuff in Crimes of the Future, I really dug a lot of, it's like nice to see an old friend and go back to the cinema and see someone that's like excited about doing a new project. And I was very much on the wavelength of that movie from the get-go. So those are some of those. And then obviously like the best, do we all have a favorite film of the year so far? Everyone here?
Yeah.
Want to do it one at a time, just our favorite film. Nicole,
Can I shout out? I want to shout out one other film really fast
okay.
that I think that just hasn't come up yet, that I'm realizing should have come up for me in a couple of places. And I think it is released. I saw it at a festival, but it's happening, which is the French.
Yes.
Yeah, that got released.
Yes.
Film.
Yeah,
Okay,
that got
it's a
released.
French film about abortion. So obviously it's unfortunately, like I saw it at Sundance, it is now even more timely than it was when I saw it. And it has gorgeous performances, really beautiful direction. It's a very affecting film, I will say. But yeah, I want to shout that out because it didn't get mentioned anywhere else. But I also will say, okay, hold on. I'm looking at my like top films of the year, my like ranked films of the year list and trying to make sure I'm taking out things that are like have not been released. That actually puts me at a two-way tie between Benediction and Fresh.
Oh, nice.
Interesting. All right.
I just
that's a very weird pair.
It is. It's just like I must be like really in love. Like I am so glad that cinema is back. Like blockbusters are back. My top 3 right now are Everything Everywhere All at Once, RRR, and The Northman. And those are like 3 movies that just like go for broke. Like they are throwing everything at the screen. It's maximalist filmmaking. And Top Gun Maverick is also in my top 10. Like I'm so thrilled that we get these big balls to the wall blow up movies in the theaters again, because and that they have been so varied as the blockbuster style films we've gotten this year.
I do like all of those movies. I would also shout out once again Turning Red, which I really do want to emphasize that I think this is one of Pixar's best movies. Like after a run of a lot of their movies I felt were good but not exceptional to me, I really think this kind of reminds me of the heyday of their filmography. I think it is so just not only funny but very endearing, and I love the character drama that it's investigating between mother and daughter and all these generations. I love it. I love that movie so much.
Yeah,
I will say the one thing that I loved about that movie was that it felt like the least Pixar movie in a long time, because it allowed itself to have inspiration from anime instead of just from other Pixar movies. And that was really refreshing.
I want to shout it out also for maybe being the first like mainstream American animated film to ever show animated feminine products. I'd never seen that before. And I think that's so cool and so potentially good in removing stigma around periods for young people.
These are all really good movies. My favorite movie of the year still, since I saw it at Sundance earlier in the year,
Avatar 2: The Way of Water.
Shut up. Shut your mouth. Don't even start.
Look, we know, Ryan, you are a secret James Cameron fan, and we all love you
because James Cameron would release that small picture for a Sundance online audience the way we all intend to see it.
Secret screening.
And I would watch
secret screening
on an iPod Nano. But no, it's After Yang. It's Coconut. I just think that movie is so beautiful and so moving, and also it's just I can't understate that direction and the fact that you can tell it is somebody making use of an expansive world within a limited budget and scope, and they don't have a lot of resources, but they make it makes the audience have to use that imagination so much. It makes you have to connect with these characters. It's a very simple yet beautiful, very elegant film, and just like all the performances in that movie are fantastic. But Colin Farrell just breaks my heart. I highly encourage everyone to go to Showtime, where I'm so pissed that movie. Josh, you talked about we talked about Fire Island. Like I would have liked to see, after Yang up on the big
did
screen.
Get released in theaters.
It did.
It?
But it was very small.
Very small. Like I did not have it down here at all, anywhere near me. So
yeah, it was in some theaters, but it was like what they did with The Humans last year. It's in 5 theaters across the country, and then they dump it on Showtime.
That deal is so
really disappointing.
I hate that deal. Ugh. Well, it'll be interesting to see if when we do this exercise towards the end of the year and we do our favorites of the year, if some of these stay and some of these that are never spoken about. But that's why we kind of talk about them now here halfway through the year, so then we can highlight those. Let's do some listener questions. How about that? Jasmine wants to know, in honor of Pride Month, what are your favorite LGBTQ plus films?
Oh my god.
That's a big topic.
That is a big topic. I'm going to shout out one really obvious one and one not so obvious one.
Okay.
Beautiful Thing is, up until like very recently, probably the best gay movie ever about teenage boys. It still makes me cry thinking about it. That ending scene with the Mama Cass songs, it's fantastic, really wonderful British kitchen sink drama, and so well performed. And my other is this movie that I don't think many people have seen, from South America, called Undertow.
I've heard of it, but I have not seen it yet.
It is so good. It's basically Ghost, but gay, and a man who is he's married to a woman, but having an affair with this artist who is like an outcast from the community, in part because he's gay, and the artist dies, but he comes back as this ghost. So this closeted man is sort of able to, he thinks, have everything. He's able to have his straight relationship and also have this relationship with his lover who's a ghost. But it obviously, things get more complicated. Beautiful cinematography, really incisive screenplay. I mean, the metaphor is sort of right there on the surface of it, but it plays out really, really well, and the performances are really affecting. Even the performances from the movie has a lot of heart for even like the straight guy's wife, who should be like, who would in lesser hands be like a villainous character in some way, but even that, it's a beautiful performance. I love that movie, and every time I get the chance to shout it out, I mention it because more people need to see it.
Yeah, it's on my watch list. It is.
I think like mid 2000s, like 2007 or something. But yeah, really, really good.
Yeah. I would want to shout out Andrew Hay's Weekend, which is a masterpiece. I love that movie.
I love that movie.
That is a movie that I feel like it gets the specifics of what it is like trying to be in a gay relationship, but also feels universal. And just speaking to relationships in general, it's such great storytelling. I love Andrew Hay. He's one of my favorite just storytellers in general. I love him dearly, and that film is just magnificent.
Special.
Yeah. Another one I would say is one that I wouldn't say is like necessarily like gay, but more in the kind of queer space. And that is Orlando.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is another one I think is a masterpiece. And like
Absolutely.
just the sensibility is sort of in that realm, even if it's not explicit at times, but it is just one of the most gorgeous films I have ever seen. The score to that is incredible too. Tilda Swinton,
Yes.
maybe her best performance, honestly. Like if you have not seen Orlando, I cannot recommend it highly enough. It is truly one of the greatest films ever made.
The costume.
Yeah. I mean, Sandy Powell.
Oh, yeah. Sandy Powell, that fucking genius.
Yeah.
I have a few. One, which I feel like is kind of an obvious one, is Pride, but I think that film is
I love Pride
so sweet.
so much.
So sweet.
What a
Yes.
cast. Speaking
Where
of
are my
costume,
lesbians?
yes. Yes. Speaking of costumes, Colette, which was a film that came out a few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, with
Very
Keira
Yeah.
Knightley.
Good.
With Keira Knightley, it's really interesting. And also I just want to shout it out because it is about like an actual queer person in history. And I obviously, like me as a historian, I think it's very important to highlight those. And then my other one is a small film that, again, not a lot of people saw, called Summerland, which is
Yes!
really,
Yeah.
really beautiful, like post-World War II lesbian film. And I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon, I believe. It was Jessica Swale's directorial debut, and it's just gorgeous. And it's Gemma Arterton and Gugu Mbatha-Raw. And like, what could be better than that?
Seriously.
I mean, I'm going to be the one that says the most obvious one, but like Moonlight, I remember seeing that in theaters and just, I felt, I was literally in the theater by myself. It was the last screening I could see it.
Oh my God.
In before it would go away. And I just was, I was a mess. I couldn't get out of my seat. And then a couple of years later, because of just unspeakable circumstances, I needed to see 3 films all in one day. And it was
I've done that once. It's very difficult.
It's very difficult because you're lining everything up.
Yeah.
And I saw, the first film I saw was Jojo Rabbit. The second film I saw the third film I saw was Parasite. But the one in the middle was the one I could not stop thinking about. And that was Pedro Almodovar's Pain and Glory, which is, I just think of like, it's those scenes in the middle with him and his ex-lover, and just having those honest, somber, heartbreaking conversations. It's, I mean, Pedro Almodovar is the master of making, queer cinema. And I you can't go wrong with his entire filmography, but like that one recently is just, I think I've cemented as that is my favorite, just because it's his most introspective and his most honest film to date. And then towards the end of that film, you're looking very respectively at the bath sequence, right? So I'm just saying. So yeah, but also too, shout out the Wachowski sisters in Bound, a movie that
Bound. So good.
And if we're talking about queer, I will fully stand up for Cloud Atlas any day of the week.
Oh, Cloud Atlas. Oh, I thought you said Jupiter Ascending there first. I was like, no, please. No, what are you talking about? But yes, but Cloud Atlas.
Jupiter Ascending, it's not really queer.
No. No, that's why I was like, for a second, I was like, my ears, what? But no, Cloud Atlas.
But
yes,
camp is not always.
Yes,
queer.
but Cloud Atlas is,
but not always.
Cloud Atlas is amazing, and I love that movie. So, and then, so those are a couple recommendations.
Just one more, I would also say, just speaking of the same year as 2019. Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yeah.
I was waiting for someone to say
that masterpiece.
I feel like at this point, Portrait of a Lady on Fire and Carol sort of go without saying.
Oh, Carol, yeah. It's like Eric's, one of Eric's favorite films. Obviously, it's like for all you listeners out there, it's a poster that hangs on the wall at his right by his office, but it's Brokeback Mountain. Such a iconic film and everything, but then it goes unsaid, so we try to
another one goes without saying.
Another one that I need people to watch. It's a Venezuelan movie called The Way He Looks. About 2 adorable like high school kids, and one is blind, and they fall into a relationship. It's so cute, and
It's very sweet. Yeah,
it's very, very sweet movie, and no one has seen it. Think it's still on Netflix, but I love that movie.
I'll give it a look this week. James wants to know who would win in a fight, Eric or Ryan?
As they are both my editors, I will not be answering that question.
Abstain.
One's not here though.
Well,
I'm not
see, here's
taking
the
any
thing. Like,
chances.
I feel like Eric would. He's little. He's scrappy.
He's scrappy.
You know?
Yeah, and you gotta always look out for him. You know?
Ryan hits harder, probably. You know,
wow.
He's taller. He's got bigger hands. He's got more
the projections
weight
here
behind him. You know, so like, I don't know. I would like to see it.
I don't know who would win the fight. I will say if I was going to call someone in to be backup in a fight for me, I would pick Ryan. So that's as much of an answer as I'm giving.
Well, if I'm going the route that Nicole just suggested, that I think is probably for the best, I'm actually going to say Eric, because I think Eric would fight dirty. He'd figure out a way to win.
That is true.
He'd figure it out.
All right. Yeah. He's been around long enough. He's been around 6,000 years.
Exactly.
So, you know.
Hey, you want that experience at a fight.
You gotta have the experience. Yeah. And that
you gotta have the Burgess Meredith in your corner.
Yeah.
You know.
You always want Gandalf's help, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Eric would just go into the middle of the wrestling ring and shout, "You shall not pass."
The secrets of Dumbledore, I swear. Anyway. Shadon wants to know what are your favorite interviews or pieces that you guys have done in your careers? Well, that's an interesting one.
Oh,
you guys have like a favorite piece or something? It doesn't have to be with AW, it can be anywhere. Your favorite moment so far?
I did really like the interview that I just did with Terrence Davies. That was like,
that's the second plug for that.
Second plug, but it just came out, and you should also watch Benediction, which just came out in theaters.
Yeah.
But he was just such a delight to talk to, and got to he said some things that I was really surprised by and impressed by, and we got to talk a little bit about that. But my actually favorite interview that I ever did was talking with Jonathan Majors after Last Black Man in San Francisco. We went like deep into like his process and how he created that character. And it was just before he was going off to film like The Five Bloods and Lovecraft Country. He had like just gotten cast in those. It's like right on the cusp of his like breaking out as a major actor.
Dan,
I treasure that a lot.
Dan, how deep did you get into that conversation? Anyway,
pretty deep.
Pretty deep. No, that's great. Josh,
I would probably say that getting the opportunity to finally see No Time to Die and writing that review, I think
cathartic.
That was something that
right?
When I first heard about that film, probably would never have even dreamed of having that opportunity, and then it really, as the months and months went by, seemed even more unrealistic. But finally getting the chance to see it and being the one to write that review felt very cathartic, I would say, and I very much appreciated that opportunity.
I remember seeing that, and when I was done, the first person I thought about was you. Because I was just like, we did it, Josh.
Yeah,
we finally saw this movie.
Like 2 years away, but we finally got there.
It's like more than that. It felt like forever. Like, like moment after Spectre, I was like, okay, I need something else, please. Yeah. Nicole?
My favorite interview that I've ever done is obviously my interview with Sebastian Stan about Fresh, which is one of my favorite movies of the year. And it also, though, was my favorite in that I, had heard that Seb can be a little bit hard to get talking in an interview, and just because he is a bit reserved. And I got him to go on a 5-minute rant. So I was pretty proud of myself for that one. And I also think like we had there were some really cool things that he said in it. My other favorite piece I've ever written, though, is sort of two pieces that went together. My review for the site In Their Own League of Little Women. And then I also wrote a piece for my own blog, sort of talking about what that film means to me, and the ways in which I talk a lot about, sort of the book and the movie and how they work together. And that is probably my other favorite thing I've ever written.
Yeah. Oh my God. Favorite thing. There were a couple pieces that I wrote when I was at a award circuit that I really liked. There was one, it was in the middle of the pandemic. I actually I went and did like research and everything, because one of my theaters here in town were one of the only theaters that were open during the whole COVID stuff. And I saw a film during it. And I talked with like the experience and theater owners and everything about like the model and everything. It was
I remember that piece. That was very good, Ryan.
Yeah. I was really proud of that one. No longer exists. Thanks, Variety. And but stuff that I've written here over the last year, I've just been enormously proud of. I think my review for The Green Knight is one of my favorite pieces I've ever written, just because and the three of you know this, but collaborating with Eric is to give him his flowers when he's not here, but trash him when he is truly a great experience. And that was one of the first early ones that we did together. And so I'd say that interview. I mean, Mike Mills last year almost had me in tears when I was done with it. Ariana DeBose is like the most charming person on the planet. Nicholas fucking Cage.
You didn't say it. I was.
I'm gonna come on. You got a fucking billboard.
Come on,
Ryan.
say the name.
So no, there's a lot of great ones that I've done, but I mean, it's only just one year here, but I felt like I've done a lot to be proud of. And yes, like all those pieces that Josh and Dan and Nicole said, but then even more stuff, like Nicole just did an interview with Oscar Isaac, and I listened to that, and it was over at Next Best Picture, and I listened to that, and I thought it was fantastic. So it's not just when they're here. I also read and listen to everything they do elsewhere. Kevin Jacobson wants to know, what is your most memorable experience as a podcaster? Ooh,
obviously.
Oh, I know this.
Obviously, being on Kevin Jacobson's podcast.
Yeah, being on And the Runner-Up Is any episode.
Genuinely though, mine is going on the
1917 episode
about 1917, when I suddenly decided I was going to spill every opinion about that film year that I held back. I talked about Joker. I talked about the Irishman.
It was like letting out a dam and just
it was beautiful.
Blood everywhere.
I felt like cleansed. I was like, wow, it's all gone. Yeah, no, that's genuinely my answer, not just because Kevin asked.
No. Josh, do you have one?
I think that I would default to what I look forward to doing podcasts every year, and that is the Oscar predictions podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, the one I look back to the most is 2018, because it is the one where I feel like that's
bragging rights.
Well, it was also like the first one I did, I think, because I think that was the very first one that I was ever a part of. And I just feel like it did kind of set my bona fides like right up front. Like I know what I'm talking about. And being able to get some very tricky categories, I felt like gave me a leg up quite early on and gave me a lot of credibility that I'm very thankful to have. So those are always fun predictions episodes to do. I do always love them, but I really think that first one was like that showed people like I've been watching this for a while. I know what I'm talking about every now and then.
Dan?
God, this is actually really hard. I probably the most memorable one was actually when I was at my first TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, and I'm like in between screenings and on the phone with Mr. Matt Neglia of Next Best Picture so that I could talk about the experience of being at the festival live on the air, in quotes. That was probably the most memorable experience I've ever had, because I'm literally like walking from one theater to another and sitting down and like trying to be quiet and having my phone so I don't disturb people. That was memorable. And the other one, the big one, probably is when we did. Nicole was there for me with me for this. Doing audio commentary for all the Twilight movies.
Showed up for a little bit too.
Yeah, Ryan was there for a bit.
Yeah, Ryan was there for a little bit. Yeah,
mind by the end of.
I literally I'm impressed that we all kept our brains intact by the end.
Yeah, that it's not just a bowl of soup up there. Yeah.
Okay, I remember that too because I ordered pizza halfway through.
Yeah.
I had like 3 drinks over the course.
It's like,
So
what are you guys
popcorn.
watching in here? Like you hear the audio, it's like your pizza guy, and we're like, oh, what are you guys watching?
Yeah.
That was a time.
I'm like you, Josh. Only I think when I did my final prediction show over at In Session Film, when I did Chasing the Gold, and it was 2020, and I was beating the drum about that whole year that it's going to be Francis, and everyone was going back and forth, and I knew I was 100% going to be right about this, because then I heard Josh predict Francis and I said, okay, I'm not crazy. And then it happened and I went, good, and so that's the one that I called from I think September, I think, and then that whole year I just stuck with it, and everyone kept looking like it's not gonna happen, it's crazy. And then she walked up there and got it. I was like, I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. I was like, well, me and Josh got that one right on the board. But
I will say Chasing the Gold last year when I was on Chasing the Gold, Ryan, that's another memorable experience for me, because I was the only person who predicted that Belfast would be a top contender for Best Picture.
Yeah, that was you, me, and Jazz. Oh, yeah. I love Jazz. Jazz 10K. She's the best. Yeah. But also too, kind of podcast adjacent. I was asked by the Film Spotting podcast to be a guest captain on their Patreon trivia nights a couple of months back in April, and one, I've listened to that show that was the first podcast I ever listened to, actually, to be honest with you. And semi-contributor and friend of the show, Mitchell Beaupre, was there, as well as some other guests, but it's like Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune was one. And I've read Michael Phillips reviews for years, and we had some jokes back and forth. It was an experience, and I was like, this is real cool. And so that was I've done a couple of those before just as a spectator, but to actually be asked to, then you kind of know where you're at in the world, and you're like, oh, cool, interesting. But then, anytime also too, I get to talk with these 3 individuals, as well as Sophia and Kevin and Tyler, and sometimes Eric, when we get the crew together here, this is always making memorable experiences here. So yeah, that's another way to butter everybody up here as well, and also for you to pick me in head-to-head matchups with Eric as the other options down the road. Scott Kernan wants to know, what is your favorite or your all-time favorite Best Picture winner?
Well, the obvious answer for me is The Godfather.
I was going to say Tom Jones for you.
But a very, very strong second place for me is Amadeus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amadeus.
I had not seen Amadeus all the way through until 2017. I watched the director's cut, and I was like, can this movie be longer? It was so good. God, that movie's so good.
Yeah.
It's on my list of things to watch.
Oh,
Nicole, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, The Godfather is my favorite film of all time, so it's kind of hard not to say that. But I love Casablanca. That's a movie that I watch every year.
My top 3.
The day of the Oscars.
Casablanca is my number 1.
Wow.
Hard to argue.
Best
Hard to
picture
argue.
went
It's
out.
the greatest screenplay of all time.
Yeah.
It is the greatest screenplay of all
Claude
time. That
Rains is amazing in that
Oh.
movie. I love
everyone
him.
is amazing.
I mean,
Claude
yeah.
Rains, yeah. Sidney Greenstreet is another one. I just love him in that. That movie just gives me all the feels
Yeah.
every time. Every time.
It's just,
And I'll just say that my number 2 is Titanic, just to piss off Ryan.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I was gonna say, like, my runners up are Rebecca and Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, those are great movies, and now
But
Nicole's
my
gonna say-
favorite, and I swear it's not just to piss off Ryan, it is genuinely my favorite. This is for Kenzie. My favorite is Titanic.
Yes.
Like,
Titanic is a good movie. Titanic is an
great
excellent
movie.
movie.
Mhm.
Yes.
it's a great film. And
Yes,
I say
it
that
is.
as a historian. It's a great film.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go.
It is.
Suck it, haters.
It's
Mm.
the
The
perfect
historian
four-quadrant
says
movie.
it
Yes,
is,
that
yep.
has something for everybody, and it knows what it's doing.
Yes.
It is
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's got Leo for me, and that's it.
And over at Oscar Central, Kenzie Venuto and I have just launched like a 6-part series about it.
Yeah.
I currently have 8 library books checked out about Titanic
Yeah.
to prep for the series. So,
Yeah. All About Eve.
Yeah.
Great.
That's like my
That's
number 4.
great.
God, I mean, there's
God,
so
what is my
there's so many. I mean, like, yes, Lord of the Rings. Like there's a run of like Chicago, Lord of the Rings, No Country for Old Men, Parasite, obviously, Moonlight.
my note Schindler's List,
Yeah, Schindler's List.
OG West Side Story.
Unforgiven. Unforgiven's a damn good movie.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I know it's controversial now, but Gone with the Wind is an incredible piece.
I was just trying to figure out if I could say.
like and another one, like, watch All Quiet on the Western Front.
I was about to
Oh,
say
it's
it.
so good.
It's so
Yeah.
So
good.
good.
It's in my top 5 of Best Picture winners. Yeah.
Yeah,
Midnight Cowboy is another one I really like.
Midnight Cowboy's good.
Mhm. Best Years of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, so many. There's so
some good
many.
ones.
There's so many great ones.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
looking-
And then,
I mean,
and then
yeah.
there's some other one.
Then there's The Apartment.
And then there's Green Book.
Yep.
The Apartment's great. Sound of
Love The
Music.
Apartment. Mhm.
Everyone watches Sound of Music at least one time in your life with your mom.
True.
Godfather Part 2 as well as Godfather Part 1. Then there's,
It happened one night.
yeah, It Happened One Night. God, it's just, yeah. I'm looking at all these. I'm just like, can I watch some of these movies? Right? The Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
The Lambs. Annie Hall.
Yep.
Hate him, but love that movie.
That movie's great. Like, I'm sorry. I know, Woody Allen's a piece of shit, but
Yeah.
that movie's great. I love Annie Hall.
And that was one of those where, like, I spent so much of my youth being like, why the fuck didn't Star Wars win Best Picture? And then when I finally watched Annie Hall, I went, oh, I get
okay.
Yeah, that's why.
I get it.
I gotta say, I really like $1 Million Baby. And I think that's a really, and out of that, well, wouldn't be my favorite film out of that crop, but it's a really, it's like one of the last Clint Eastwood movies, and I was like, wow, this is actually him trying, and it's really good, and it's quite emotional and everything. Hurt Locker. I remember when I saw the Hurt Locker in theaters, I was like, damn, that's just a good ass movie. And yeah, 12 Years a Slave is another good one. We've had some really good.
Yeah.
We've had
Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah.
Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some people really go for The Shape of Water.
Love
They
Shape
can
of
have it.
Water.
Nope. I mean, No Man Land. I know a lot of people go for last year's winner, Coda. We'll see how that ages.
I love Coda.
I do love Coda too.
I liked Coda. Yeah.
I liked it as a best.
I don't think it's a great movie, but I love it.
Yeah.
I like it as a movie, as a Best Picture winner. Yeah.
Just very quickly, what would everybody have at the bottom as the worst Best Picture winner?
God, Cimarron.
That's number 2, but
Oh.
it is eclipsed for me by The Greatest Show on Earth.
Yeah, that
No,
one's
Greatest
bad.
Show on Earth is
The other one I
yeah.
would throw down there, honestly, is Green Book. Just partially because of what the other choices were, like what they
Yeah.
could have
Yeah.
done.
That has
and they
to
went
that
with
has to
that.
play a factor into it. as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, Crash is the same way.
Crash is
Not
yeah,
only
that
a
is
bad movie, but
Crash is
literally-
worse than Green Book. as
yeah,
a
Crash
movie,
is worse
honestly.
because the four
Like,
other films in that lineup are really great films.
Yes, like
And-
literally would have preferred
Any one of
those
them.
other movies.
Like Munich, Good Night and Good Luck, which is my favorite movie that year.
Yeah.
Capote's a very good movie. And then, of course, Brokeback Mountain. Like,
Yes.
what are we doing here? Like
all like bangers and then the trash heap.
Yeah.
Tom Jones. That's what they picked.
Tom Jones, though, sucks. Let's just put it out there.
I don't remember hating that movie.
I
haven't seen it in a while too, but
Yeah.
I don't remember hating it.
It's just not good. It's not great. But yeah, those are our favorites. Hopefully we answered that question. And our least favorites, so we threw in a bonus.
Yeah.
What's everyone Ethan wants to know, what is everyone's favorite best director win of all time? That's an interesting question.
I don't know that I like have one that I feel particularly super strongly about.
Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. The year before with Coron and Roma, I also really liked. I think if I'm going to say something a bit older, the one that I always tend to go back to is George Stevens for Giant.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because he has two, but I do like Giant a little bit more than what was the first one? Place in the Sun. That was
Place in the Sun.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not just saying this to antagonize Ryan. I swear to God, I'm not.
No.
But I am so glad that James Cameron got his win for Titanic, because
the king of the
that
world
man is so obsessed with Titanic. Like he's gone back to the wreck. I think it's 33 times since he made the film. So I'm like, I know that he is happy that if he was ever going to get one, it's for that.
Sure. Yeah, I think Fosse for Cabaret is great. That's just great.
It should have also won Best Picture, but you can't have everything.
If it was Fosse for All That Jazz, I would be more.
But yes, he should have.
I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, David Lean for Lawrence of Arabia. That's just a hell of a directorial feature.
I mean, I feel like also just any time that the director won for one of the movies that I said for the last question, I like it.
Warren Beatty winning for Reds, like that's, you had that in Redford, like those are their two Oscar wins from, because Redford won it in 80 and then Beatty in 81 and
then again with the 80s, Milos Forman for
Amadeus.
Yeah. Even though his direction in Cuckoo's Nest is also really good too, but Amadeus is like a step up.
And I know I talked about it, I mentioned it for favorite Best Picture wins, but Demi's direction specifically in Silence of the Lambs is just impeccable. I mean, it's those close-ups. There's no one that ever did close-ups, I think, better than Jonathan Demme. And there's
that movie specifically.
Yeah, in that movie is specifically, and that's why every director since has tried to knock him off one way or another. And and Peter Jackson, obviously, for mounting that whole trilogy and actually that working.
Yeah.
And I would say even last year, I thought Jane Campion winning last year was such the right call. And every time I think about that movie, I just think about all the decisions that she did to make that movie. Those are fantastic ones. Yeah.
I'm going to say
there are also some bad ones here,
I mean, Jerome Robbins and Robert Wise for West Side Story winning that award jointly is a stroke of genius, I think. And probably my favorite of all time is maybe Mike Nichols for The Graduate.
Yeah.
Because it is rare that comedies get their due in Best Director. And that movie absolutely earned every bit of that director prize.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Kinsey wants to know, speaking of Kinsey, what is the best 3 movie run of any director's career?
Lady Bird, Little Women, Barbie.
You can't say that it hasn't come out yet.
I mean, everyone always talks about the 4-film run of Francis Ford Coppola. So you could always just sit and narrow it down to 3 if you don't want to include Apocalypse Now and just do Godfather, The Conversation, and Godfather Part 2, which is an impeccable run. I mean, that run by him is extraordinary.
My default answer for this is always Hitchcock, Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Although I would actually like troll a little bit and move it up one and not have
Include the
Vertigo and
birds.
do the birds.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I
am-
knew someone would do
I'm not the biggest Vertigo fan.
that.
Um,
And that's fine. You're entitled to your wrong opinion. That's
Yeah.
It looks
It's
beautiful.
just-
I'll give it
It's
that.
just my favorite Hitchcock. It's fine.
I get it. I mean, it looks beautiful. I will give it that.
anybody else? Anybody got some more?
Okay, I'm not gonna assert that this is like the greatest 3-film run, but I think my personal favorite, and this is such an annoyingly me answer. I hate that I'm even gonna say it out loud, but it's true. Kenneth Branagh directed 1992, 1993, 1994, Peter's Friends, which is a very like not well-known film, but I find absolutely delightful. And then Much Ado About Nothing, which is one of my top 5 films of all time. And then Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I say partially because it was the two of them, Josh and Dan, who told me I had to watch it, convinced me so hard that I sat down and watched it the night they told me that. And I am not going to admit how many times I've seen it since. But it's also, listen, we all know why I like that film, but it is also the most accurate, like book accurate film ever made of Frankenstein. So, you know, I like that he calls it Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. He said, I'm going to make sure you all know this was written by a woman. That's like a very delightful 3-year in a row 3-film run. And it also leads up to my birth year. So, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I also have to give a shout out to Bob Fosse, Cabaret, Lenny, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Especially when you factor in all that theater he was doing at that time. Like, the man is an all-timer.
Yeah. Tarantino has Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill. That's pretty good.
I'm glad you named those movies.
Yes.
Want me to name the others?
No, you don't need to because
his first 3 are the best 3.
I do love his last 3.
I know, but I wasn't
you
gonna go with
you love
that
one of those. I know that.
Do you love one of those?
Yeah, which is the one that everybody else hates.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
And it's in the title, literally. Spike Jones, Malkovich adaptation, and then Where the Wild Things Are. Or if you want to flip it, like I don't think he's made a bad movie.
No, he hasn't.
He's on
I would say that
he's like every one of his movies perfect.
He's 100%.
Yeah, he's 100%.
Similarly, for me, is Bennett Miller. I think all 3 of his movies are kind of masterpieces. Honestly,
Oh yeah, Moneyball. My God, talk about a movie that just snaps.
Moneyball.
And we're going to see very soon if Jordan Peele can go 3 for 3.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about Gerwig there, but yeah, there's I think Bong's last 3, like you talk about Snowpiercer and then Okja and then Parasite. Like, you know, I love all 3 of those films of recent memory, at least. It'd be, some people would say Chazelle. I wouldn't say Chazelle, but some people would say Chazelle. We're waiting on Barry Jenkins in his 3rd film. Obviously, he decided to do the limited series, which is still fantastic. But yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, was there a run of Altman that I missed? Anybody else? This is a good question, actually, to be honest with you.
I would say that pretty much everything before the Planet of the Apes remake in Tim Burton's filmography.
I was going to say,
like
I was
that was a really good run.
A good Tim Burton run.
Yeah.
There's also talk about this run from Steven Soderbergh. Out of Sight, The Limey, Aaron Brockovich, Traffic, Ocean's 11.
Oh,
pick any
really
3 consecutives of those, and
I found my Robert Altman one, which is McCabe and Miss Miller. Then there's a movie called Images. If you've seen that movie
I haven't seen that one.
Insane, but it's like it's fantastic. And then The Long Goodbye, which is a masterpiece. Straight up.
I do love McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
Yeah.
One of the greatest westerns ever.
That is my favorite western. Period.
It's up there. I think Jesse James is still my favorite, but it's
Oh, The
It's in there.
Assassination of Jesse James by the Cow Robert Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, full title, please, Josh. It deserves it.
Well, yeah. But I would also say McCabe and Mr. Miller feels like it shares some sensibilities with that movie too.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I mean, like There Will Be Blood is like ripping off scenes from Miss Miller in like the best way, not in like the So JP wants to know, can you name 3 Best Picture winners in the last 25 years that you may still love and thought it should have won, but as years have gone on, a different picture you would want a different film to win Best Picture other than that, like you thought at the time, oh, this was a great Best Picture winner, I love it, and you still love the film, but now something else should replace it. Anything within the last 25 years? In
the past 25, so going back to like late 90s.
I would say, yeah, like 97, right? That's how math works.
Yeah.
I guess myself.
Okay. American Beauty.
Yeah. What would you so what would you give it to?
I would give it, then I would have given it to The Sixth Sense, which I still think is a fantastic movie and would have been deserving, but now it would be The Insider.
Yeah, The Insider is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I think my answer would be The Departed, which it really is a movie that I still really do like, and at the time was a huge champion for, but I do see more flaws in it now, and it's like, this probably isn't the best of the movies out there. And out of that lineup, I think Letters from Iwo Jima is superior.
Letters from Iwo Jima is Clint Eastwood's best movie.
Yep, his last great movie too.
I'm sorry for doing this to you, Dan. I would take it from Chicago.
Whoa.
And give it to The Hours.
Oh.
The Hours is the only acceptable.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like this is the best possible thing for me to say if I'm gonna do this to it. But yeah.
No, that's fine.
I mean, the obvious answer for someone like me is like, look, I love No Country for Old Men. That movie is fantastic, and I love that year, but God damn it, if There Will Be Blood doesn't deserve Best Picture. And that was like my favorite film of that decade. And it's a movie that just every time I watch it, I weirdly laugh way too much at There Will Be Blood. Like there's a lot of humor I find sick. Or maybe it's just I'm a sick person. It's probably the case, but I laugh a lot during that movie. And same with No Country, actually, weirdly enough, that Texas sort of dry humor comes in there perfectly from the Coens. But yeah, I
feel like the thing for me is every other place where I would replace something, I would have done it at the time.
Yeah. That's sort of what There Will Be Blood is like. That was my preference in 2007. So it didn't.
No, really well, like I was all on the like. I'm fine with No Country. That movie's great, and and I love There Will Be Blood, and then over time it's changed. Yeah. Like I love 12 Years a Slave. I think it's such an important film. But I think Her's a masterpiece. And I think it speaks really a lot to a lot of the online technology and our relationship to it nowadays. And it's very timely and it's very sad. And not to say that 12 Years a Slave isn't a great film, but it's like I would watch Her again more than I would watch 12 Years a Slave. But then also too, like I love Spotlight, but I would give it a Mad Max Fury Road in a heartbeat. Cause like that's the movie. See, that's the thing I usually try to take away from is like, this is the movie that represents this film year and what you're going to remember this year from. And for me, like, I think for most of us, Mad Max Fury Road is like, it's like that film. Like it was some people's favorite film of the decade. And that's like such a unique theatrical experience, as Nicole is laughing and she would probably say Brooklyn. But
yes.
Yeah.
And that would be the right answer, Nicole.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Well, I respectfully disagree. But
I mean, like I love Parasite, but the
other one that like is
I give it to something else, maybe.
The other one for me that kind of fits this answer is The Artist, which is a movie that
it's fine.
I loved at the time. I still do. I remember at that time like agonizing over like what movie in that lineup I would actually have represent that year in film. And yeah, over the years, it has become more and more clear to me that it should have been Tree of Life. It always should.
The movie is the complete outlier then and the complete outlier now. You know?
It is just like
that's a weird lineup.
It is a very weird lineup.
Yeah,
it is a very strange lineup, and which over the years it just become more and more clear. Like, and I love the artist. I love it in a lot of different levels, but the Tree of Life is head and shoulders above everything else.
Yeah. I mean, there was that run where,
I know, Josh. I know.
Well, it's like I don't think The King's Speech is a terrible movie.
No,
I don't.
Speech is a really good movie. Actually,
it's a good movie, but it's not The Social Network. And
The Social Network is no Toy Story 3.
I mean, they're both great, Dan. What do you want from me here?
But my love for The King's Speech annoys me because I hate that I love a Tom Hooper film because I hate Tom Hooper's work. But damn if that movie doesn't throw.
Tom Hooper is the worst part of that movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
I remember the year 2014, and Birdman was I was blown away by Birdman, and and I was really won over. I've softened. Calm down, Josh. I have softened since. I know you're not a big fan of.
Yeah, but, I don't think I'm the only one here.
No, I actively hate that film.
And
I would love it enough for all of us.
and well, it's not that I don't hate the film. I've since then I'm like, Boyhood and The Grand Budapest Hotel and even Selma have stuck out more to me over that time and have aged really well. It's like Argo. Like Argo at the time, I was like, I get it. This is a very entertaining film. You know, it's very just like, yeah, you know, we need like that kind of like film, like Michelle Obama presented the Oscar. Like we get it all. But like Zero Dark 30 to me is the movie of that year. And, you know, it's like, if I go back, I was like, yeah, that's the kind of movie I want, a really dark, sort of mean, you know, cynical movie rather than
Michelle
Argo.
Obama opening the envelope
and it's Zero Dark 30. I want to live in that timeline, Josh.
I know.
I want to live in that multiverse.
Yeah, I want to live in that multiverse. Universe. I want to live in that multiverse of genuine madness.
I would like to live in that multiverse only to see what Viola Davis would have done with that scene on The First Lady.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, those are listener questions. You know, we're going a little long. I was going to play 2 rounds of something else, but I think we're going to just do a quick round of the Cinephile game. We're going to try to do it real quick.
Oh God.
I picked the card, so we already know the actor. Okay, and it's Denzel Washington. So we will be playing the filmography of Denzel Washington, and we will go in the order of Dan, Josh, Nicole, and then myself, Dan, Josh, then Nicole. So on the card, it is, and if you don't know, the Cinephile game that we're playing the filmography, where we all have to name a film within the filmography of the actor selected, which is Denzel Washington. Last person standing wins. And so on the card is He Got Game. So no one can say that now. So Dan, what you got?
The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Nice pronunciation. Josh?
Glory.
Oh.
Much Ado About Nothing.
Of course. Yeah, that's on brand. Training Day.
Roman J. Israel Esquire.
Darn right.
Deja Vu.
Ooh.
I like that movie, to be honest with you.
Fences.
Yep. Malcolm X.
Man on Fire.
Crimson Tide.
Ooh. Knocking out the Tony Scotts, I see.
Philadelphia.
Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that was so good. Oh,
well, the original is not the remake, but okay.
I like the remake too. This remake was not good though. The Magnificent Seven.
Mm-hmm. The Equalizer 2.
Yeah, I don't think there is an extra title to it. It's just Equalizer 2.
Yeah.
It's the only sequel he's ever done. So congratulations, Josh.
The Preacher's Wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mo Better Blues.
The Book of Eli.
The Little Things.
Oh, I saw it hurt coming out of your mouth, didn't it, Josh?
Yeah.
I forgot. I had successfully forgotten that movie existed. And now you go and bring it back.
Nicole?
I think I'm out.
Oh, okay. Nicole, if you don't mind pulling up his IMDb page and just researching for us. American Gangster.
No one has said The Equalizer, the first one, yet, have they?
I thought somebody did.
I didn't.
Ryan didn't, I didn't, and Nicole didn't.
Okay.
So you went to 2 and you just skipped over 1.
Because when he said it, I was like,
I thought somebody had said The Equalizer.
I thought
already.
somebody must have said it. Or I would have said it.
All right. Well, there you go.
Well, there you go.
Congratulations.
Wow.
All right. Unstoppable.
oh, yes.
What a good movie.
Great.
Oh my God.
Great movie.
It's the size of the Chrysler building. The Great Debaters.
Ooh.
He also directed
Flight.
Flight. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. You see, now it's at the point where it's like I'm so frustrated because
He's made a lot of trash.
Yeah, and like it's just trying to cycle through all of that
Mhm.
and trying to remember and then trying to vamp until I can maybe find something.
I knew it.
Oh my God, why am I having a blank right now? This is so embarrassing and shameful. Yeah, fucking I'm out.
All right. It's me and Dan now.
All right, bring it, Ryan.
John Q.
Inside Man.
Damn it, that was my next one. Just trying to think. The Hurricane.
Two Guns.
Oh, him and Mark Wahlberg.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of
You got plenty
Philadelphia.
left. Most of them, I said Philadelphia.
Nicole
Oh,
said it
shit.
already.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So Dan, you say one more to
Antoine Fisher.
that's right.
That was the other one.
That was
I
the
trying to
other one he
remember what was the
directed.
other
Other
movie he
directed
directed.
I was going to
All
be
right.
like, you got plenty left, but most of them don't sound like real film.
Yeah.
All right.
I knew there was another one he directed, but I couldn't remember what it was.
We can
Viola Davis.
we can quickly play one more round if you guys want to. Yeah, it sounds like you
One
do.
more. And
Okay.
then I
Only
need
if
food.
it's a much shorter filmography.
We have Kate Blanchett,
That's not a
And-
short filmography.
and the film is Carol. So Carol is what we'll go with the same order, but Dan gets Carol for the card. So it's Josh's turn.
Elizabeth.
Cinderella.
Oh.
I'm
Damn it.
starting out with Kenneth Branagh movies both times. So
Notes on a Scandal.
Elizabeth, the Golden Age.
Yeah, I left that for you, Dan. There you go.
Thank you.
I'm Not There.
Oh gosh, should have won. An
Oh,
Oscar.
good.
I'm sorry. I'm not.
You should have
trying to remember.
blanked out.
She
I'm
was
trying
just
to
in
remember-
movies last year.
Oh, okay. I will say Nightmare Alley.
Okay, I'll say Don't Look Up.
Oh, me. Sorry.
You.
The House with a Clock in Its Walls.
Oh my God, the
wow.
fact that you got that, like,
Wow.
really. All right,
Um,
we see who came to play.
He's so witchy. I love it.
Nobody said The Aviator, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah.
I love that movie.
Okay.
You would.
Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
It's fantastic. Is she in Two Towers?
That's what I was trying to remember last round. I thought yes.
I don't think she's in Two
Is
Towers.
she not?
No, I think she's in all of them.
Is she in all of them?
I think she's
That's
in
what
all
I
of
was trying to
them.
remember last round.
The problem is we don't have someone on IMDb.
Yeah. Well, I'll allow it for now.
Okay.
I'll allow it because then I'll say Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring.
I will go to another franchise and say Ocean's 8.
Oh, she's fun in that. She's having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Josh?
God, feels like so easy, but yeah, the Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. I know she's in that one.
Lord, yes, she is.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say next.
The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. She's at the end with the boats. Yeah.
Mhm.
So one of the 12 endings. She's got to be in there.
Yeah.
Truth.
Oh, her and Redford, right?
Mm-hmm. Mary Mapes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's one of those things where it's like you can see it,
You can see it, but you can't.
but it's like
it's hard.
The Rolodex in your mind that's going, and that's always the thing that trips you up. Because like I can see the movie, but I can't remember the name of it. Is the problem? It's the Sam Raimi film.
Oh, I know.
I knew you were going to try to say that one too.
God, what? But because I've actually never seen the movie. It's the problem.
No. Oh, you should see it. It's a trip.
It's a hoot and a half.
I'm gonna tap out. That was my answer, but I can't think of the name of it.
Josh,
so.
if you don't mind looking up on IMDb her
Yeah.
filmography, and also double check and see if the Two Towers were on it. But we'll allow just for our sanity. But we'll keep Nicole in either way. Nicole, continue.
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
my
Maid Marian.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We're going there, huh?
I went through a Robin Hood phase. Okay.
How did no one say Blue Jasmine yet?
I was just thinking the same thing, Ryan.
Yeah.
Her Oscar-winning role.
Performance, her lead actress Oscar for Christ's sake.
Well, that filmography we try to forget.
Yeah, I get it, but she also won an Oscar for it.
She was great in it.
Yeah, she's good in that film.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dan, it's your turn.
I also say How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Yeah.
Charlotte Gray.
Ooh.
Oh, trying to think. The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. She rescues Gandalf in that film.
Okay.
Yeah. The
Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Oh, she's so good in that movie.
Okay, I think she's
it's a great
in
movie,
this.
Josh. Sorry.
What?
I think she's in Hannah.
Yes.
she is in
I
Hannah.
purposely didn't say it because I figured you would.
Thank you.
That's a great movie. It's Joe Wright's best.
I don't know that I would go that far, but
I would go that far.
Well, you'd be going wrong, but you're entitled to your.
I'm talking about a great movie, and it's going. God, I'm trying to think. We've said a lot already, to be honest with you.
We have.
Yeah. And
remember you said another short round.
Yeah.
Where's the time limit on this?
The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
With all those wubbies.
I need to know.
I mean, the best part of that movie, though.
She's going for it.
Easily.
Yeah. She's not afraid to do any of that.
Have we said all the Hobbit movies?
Well, I will help you out here, Nicole. She's only in the first and the third. She's not in the second. Yeah.
She's not.
The fact that I know that
he and Ryan said both of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I think I am done.
Oh.
Well, I will just say, according to IMDb, she is in the second one.
She is?
Which is it's Desolation of Smog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
According to IMDb, She is credited in it.
I want to know what scene she's in.
There you go.
I want to know
Ryan's
what
trying to
scene
get rid of me.
Oh, did we say the Sam Raimi film?
No, we didn't.
No.
Okay, so The Gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it because I think I felt somebody
Yeah. No, I get you.
brought it up. So
We're too nice.
Good German.
Mhm.
Oh, The Good German. Soderbergh.
Mm-hmm.
What else is she in? It's Nicole's
She in
turn.
An Ideal Husband.
I think so.
Yes.
Is that her?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is on there.
Oh, wow. Wow. Have we said a lot, Josh? Are there still more, like plenty big ones there?
There are a couple more. Yeah.
What is it? The How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, or something like that?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't say that one yet.
yeah.
So yeah.
But that is one. Yeah.
Best Picture nominee Babel.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Mm,
Shit. I knew that
okay.
too.
Now I'm officially out.
I hate that movie too. I hate that. It's a bad movie. Wait, Josh, do you like Babel?
Do I like Babel?
Well, the way you looked at me right there as I said that there was a bad.
No, I was looking at something else. I
Oh,
fucking
okay,
hate Babel.
okay, all right.
No, I was looking at the other movies that are on this list, and I was chuckling at that.
Oh, okay, all right.
There's something recent that no one has gotten yet.
Something recent, like last year, recent.
No, not last year
No,
recent.
oh, okay. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. But I'm out. Yeah, say it, Dan.
The Missing.
Damn it! I've seen that movie too. What is
Wait,
what's
did
the
we not
recent-
say Don't Look Up?
No,
No,
I
we
said
did.
that.
You did.
Oh, you did,
Nobody
okay.
said Where'd You Go, Bernadette.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because even Richard Linklater's still trying to find that movie.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
makes
Veronica Gerwin also.
Yeah,
Nobody
that's
said.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Bandits. The Man Who
Bandits.
Cried.
Yeah.
You
I'm-
said-
According to this, she did animal vocal effects in Tarzan 2. So-
Oh. and she technically is in. Well, she did work on Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes.
Mhm.
Anything
She also
else?
has
Any
that
other big ones?
uncredited cameo in Hot Fuzz.
Yes, I was gonna say that. I was saving that
good
one
in
for my
Hot
very
Fuzz.
last.
Yeah.
one.
She did the English dub of Ponyo,
I didn't do that.
Yes.
which I saw
Yes.
in the theater.
Yes.
I did too.
All right. Well, that was fun. Dan won those. Dan's the winner of games this week. All
He's always
right.
gonna be the
King of this
winner.
game,
Dan's always the winner of
apparently.
this game.
Dan's all games. No,
We're all just trying to play second place.
we're all just
Dan
three
is
on
a
one.
walking IMDb.
3-on-1 next week. Dan has to try to face off against
God.
I mean,
that.
in fairness, Dan is like, no offense, but you're 10 years older than like most people around here. So
Wasn't trying to
Yeah,
go
yes.
there either. All right, Josh.
I mean,
but,
that's
I
not
have a
even like a
longer
slight.
memory. That's what
Excuse me,
I'm
Josh.
It's not even a
saying.
slight,
Respect your
it's just-
elders.
just fact.
Respect your
all right,
elders.
that is this has been the Awards Watch podcast. Nicole Ackman, tell everyone out there where they can find you and all your work.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Nicole Ackman 16. I've got link trees there to places that my work exists. And then also I'm plugging everyone go follow the Barbie Breakdown, your guide to Greta Gerwig's Barbie. My latest podcast, episode 2, is coming very soon.
I can't wait to guest on that show.
It's gonna be fun. I'm very
so much
excited
fun.
to have I will say episode 2 has our first guest, and it is my younger sister, which
Mhm.
means it is absolute chaos.
Yeah,
So
can't wait to
get excited
listen.
for that.
yeah, I'm gonna listen to that. I'm gonna listen to basically Nicole's podcast just all tomorrow and
Yeah.
and everything because they're fantastic. Josh Parham, tell everyone where they can find you and your work on the internet.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at JR Parham, and you can also find a lot of my work over on Next Best Picture.
Read all of Josh's stuff. Amazing podcast that they do over there. Great stuff. Yeah, Bear, Mr. Trivia.
You can find me on Twitter at Dance and Dan on Film. You can find writing at Next Best Picture and at AwardsWatch, where I will soon be posting my predictions for who's going to win the Tony Awards.
Oh, Tony stuff happening next week. We'll have to talk about all that next show. You can find me on the internet, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Ryan McQuade 77. Go follow me on Letterboxd right now because I'm making a lot of lists. I did a list this weekend of my criterions and how many of those I have. And
I should do that. That's a great idea.
It's an insane amount. It's a lot of money when I started thinking about it. You can find my writing here at AwardsWatch, In Session Film, Film Speak to Playlist, a bunch of other places. And next week, we will be back. We will be talking about Jurassic Park and the Tonys, because those totally go together, and play some more games and some listener questions and all the other fun stuff. So until then, go read everybody's work here, as well as the staff over at AwardsWatch at awardswatch.com. Follow Eric on Twitter at awards_watch, and we will see you all next week.